Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Today's Culture. I'm your host, Kelly Dixon. Participatory culture is a buzzword with techies and educators. Today we will touch on the topic of participatory media with producer and TV host Jeff Sharon. Just yesterday I got a chance to sit down with Jeff. Let's see what he thinks about this controversial change in media. Now we're in the year 2009. You're still fairly new to the whole industry of television media. So of course you're familiar with YouTube and you've been involved in social networking and all of that stuff. How familiar are you with the new participatory culture, as they like to call it?
Very familiar. Particularly personally. I mean, I have my own Facebook account. I have a MySpace account. I don't use my MySpace account. But I'm on YouTube quite a lot. And YouTube I found to be very useful in getting new ideas. One thing that you and I know very well is that, one of the old cliches is that this is a copycat business.
Yes.
And YouTube enables you to basically see what other people are doing in terms of video production, what ideas they have, and you can put your own spin on it. So it's really is true.
So do you feel threatened at all by this new culture? Do you participate often? Tell me about it.
I don't feel threatened at all by it. But then again, I grew up in a generation that's very, fond of computers. I mean, we grew up on computers when we were kids.
Right.
So it's not, I'm not afraid of it at all. In fact, I think my computer doesn't do enough. I want it to make me a decent cup of coffee. But but no, I really don't think it. I'm not afraid of it at all. I think it's made our lives so much better, and will continue to do so as time goes by.
As a journalist now, you've got, these people just sitting at home, maybe they hear about something in the news, and they'll write their own story on their blog. Do you feel that could take away future jobs for you, say 10, 20 years from now?
With regards to blogs specifically?
Well, regards to people creating their own videos and putting them on Facebook, YouTube.
Well, they're already doing that now. I think we've seen, it's sort of a little bit of two things. We've seen already that it's, like for example, CNN has iReport. We saw the plane that crashed in the Hudson River. The first photographs of that were taken moments after the plane hit and posted on Twitter.
Right.
So, I don't think I think that it's already, it's a different industry now. It used to take a crew of people to put together a TV package that you see on the 6 o'clock news. Right. It used to take a photon, an editor, a writer, a producer, and an actual reporter to go out and do the story. And in my first job, I performed all of those functions.
Yes.
So there's how companies save money right there. And I think that depending on the kind of work that you're trying to do, it can be a positive because the companies end up saving money, and also you can hire more people and develop more content. But as we've seen, especially with the economic downturn, companies will always try to get the maximum output out of the minimum input.
Yes. And
that is, I've found in the industry to be problematic.
What, in your opinion and your thoughts, where do you see journalism and media going with this new culture?
I think it's going to be hyper localized and really narrow to the user. We're all different. We learned that at the age of 3. But what we're going to see is there are so many choices that you can now pick and choose everything. Whereas before, when you were in network news, everybody was, they would tell you to try and be as general as possible in order to appeal to a wider audience. Well, now you're trying to appeal to a more narrow audience. Now, I think Apple TV, for example, is a kind of technology that's really going to be a harbinger of the future, where you're going to see networks and TV stations put out content, not necessarily at a particular time, but it will be available for download, and you can watch it whenever you want. Kind of like iTunes. And it's going to be a case like, for example, I can watch Countdown with Keith Olbermann, off my iPod. I don't necessarily need to show up at, 8 o'clock and sit down on my TV and watch it on MSNBC. I can watch it whenever I want, and or any other show for that matter. I think that that's going to be something a little different. And as far as live is concerned,
right,
that's a different situation. I think that you'll probably see some channels that show live information. But live, I think, has lost its luster. Everyone always wanted to be, this is happening now, and I think it's so pervasive that now everyone realizes that when something actually happens live, it's like,
Yeah.
That's it. You know, it's not as exciting as a space shuttle launch or any of that kind of
Right.
stuff. So, so I think that that'll sort of more or less fall by the wayside because we can't really put much down unless something big happens.
Right.
Like God forbid 9/11 was probably the biggest live television event in history.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the thing that'll happen.
The inauguration too.
The inauguration was a big live event, but also you can go back and watch the speech.
True.
So, that's the kind of stuff that'll happen, I think, nowadays.
So more on-demand news, where instead of you have to wait until the 5 o'clock comes on, you could go through your DVR and that story interests me. I'm gonna watch that.
Your news stations will put up like little 5-minute updates every 3 hours or so, and you can just go and it just updates itself, and you download. Boom, what's happening right now? Okay, and then you can go to things like, can I watch a health report? Okay, well you click on this and you see a health story. You go and you see what's the latest sports going on. We've seen that a little bit here at UCF, where we can kind of pick and choose with whatever, and I think that's the direction I think it's going to go.
Also, the user would hopefully be able to choose, the stories that you said that interest them more, rather than, the saying goes, if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah,
right? So less
exactly.
about the shooting down the street and more about, hey, this will, enhance your life.
Yeah. Broadcast TV, I think, eventually will kind of become obsolete from that perspective. So I think that will be more along the lines of, like I said, the DVR and Apple TV. That's really where the future lies.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'll see you again.
I'm Kelly Dixon. That's a wrap.